What up, players? It's your boy Gearseed Zero. It's been a while, so I'm doing a thing now where I'm just kind of going through the old backlog, checking out a couple of games from last generation, etc., etc. I've got a couple of games I'd like to work on. I've got some Ghosts of Tsushima and some Shadows of War thoughts that I'd like to share in particular, but for now, Nioh seemed like the path of least resistance. So to start off, I just kind of want to talk a little bit about, obviously what is Nioh. For anybody who doesn't know, this game is a Souls-like. But it's a little different. It's made by the team Team Ninja that does the Ninja Gaiden games, and you can feel that a lot in this game, as well as Koei Tecmo, which does the Dynasty Warriors games, and especially in the way the storytelling is in this game, you can feel their influence a lot. So it feels like a combination of Dark Souls, Ninja Gaiden, and Dynasty Warriors, with a little smattering of some like Diablo loot system in there as well. I'll talk a little bit more about the loot system when I'm comparing it to other Souls-likes and such, but for now I just wanted to talk about, just kind of my experience with the game overall. I'm coming back to this game after having put it down for a while, and that was just kind of my flow with the game. For me, that was definitely the best way to enjoy it, is to just kind of play the game, get tired of it, go to something else, and come back a little later. So I finally finished the main story and the epilogue mission, and now I'm in the DLC and such, and there is a sequel to this game that I haven't even started playing yet that I do own. But basically, I'm more or less happy to have experienced the game this way. And I'm happy I finally beat it, and I'm looking at the extra content. But when recommending this game to other people, you have to be pretty aware of what this game is. It's a lot of weird elements smashed together, and it does work, but you kind of got to make it work. There's a lot of things you got to juggle in this game because you've got all your normal Souls-like stuff, and then you've got your gear system where you, on the plus side, this game does have a really nice blacksmith that lets you have a lot of options with how you want to roll your gear, and you can re-roll all your bonuses on your gear. So in that regard, it's both harder and easier than other Souls-likes because there are more things you can do to give yourself an edge. And that's just kind of generally how I would compare it to other Souls-like games. The most obvious comparison that, any passerby is going to make is, this game looks and feels a lot like Sekiro because that thematically very similar. They both are Souls-like games. And if you've played both, they're as different as they could be while being like the same thing. It's really kind of hard to describe. But I'm going to attempt to. Essentially, I think what it boils down to is kind of what makes this game hard is that it's complicated, and what makes Sekiro hard is that it's simple. At its core, Sekiro is a game that wants you to use its fundamentals a lot, and it's very minimalist in terms of like the number of moves you have available at any given moment, that type of thing. Which translates to the difficulty of that game being all about being immaculate with those core mechanics, particularly the deflect, your defensive mechanics. Whereas in Nioh, I feel you generally have more build options. I'm about to show, I just used a tool where I can revive myself. I just popped another one, so now if I die again, the same thing will happen where I use ninja to appear right above them, followed by my Guardian Spirit talisman that causes my Guardian Spirit to come out and light them both on fire, do a bunch of key damage, that kind of thing. And none of which is to mention the whole stance system. If you look in the bottom right, I'm in mid stance right now. And the fact that I have two weapons. I have my Odachi and my Katana available to me at all times. That's, standard for a lot of Souls-like games. Sekiro in particular, you don't have an alternate weapon, but the point I'm trying to get at is just that you have a lot more moves in this game than you do compared to, frankly, a lot of games, other than like really stylish action games like Devil May Cry style stuff. And even in the previous clip, you can see that I'm not, immaculately skilled at the game. I use a tool that gives me extra lives because I know I screw up a lot. But sort of to illustrate my point, I got I got stuck on the idea of beating this boss at my current level. And he's a DLC boss, and this stage is labeled as being at a level 160, I think, and I'm a level 130 in this clip. And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend this, wasn't hard and didn't take me like more tries than I could count. As an aside, I'm not really the type of guy that really counts how many tries it takes me to do stuff. I just kind of lose track. But the point is, I feel pretty convinced that I'm not supposed to be able to beat this boss right here. And, that's not an uncommon thing to do in Souls games, is to try and see, just how far you can push it. But, so I'm using a strategy here where I try and whittle his ki down in this first form with my Odachi, using a lot of long-range medium strikes. Managed to proc the poison on him here, which is very helpful. And then he goes into his first living weapon form with the wind spirit, which makes him really fast, fly around a lot. You got to block a lot of this. He finally gets my first life off of me, and it's really hard to avoid dying there, but I managed to pull it off. And now I see that his ki is low, and so I use another revive to explode and counterattack here. Kind of mess up, but I still get a critical there. And I managed to get a nice Mega Bomb here as he switches to his second living weapon form, which is frankly a lot more dangerous than his first. But I'm cheesing a lot of his sword beams by hiding behind this pillar. And now at this point I'm recognizing he's pretty low, and when you get at this point in the Souls-like, you get kind of tense. But he's pretty low. I get some space, start dodging some sword beams. He fills the room with trash, makes it almost impossible to get away. But his ki is low, so if I just live through this one, oh my god, like Papa Guardian Spirit, lock him down, and I get the critical strike there. Just a few hits away from beating him, and just gotta stay chill, stay alive. I still have a revive on deck, so I'm feeling pretty confident at this point. But I also know that it's easy to screw up on this guy, so I don't want to screw around too much. And managed to finish him off with the self-revive, self-destruct technique. Combination of two ninjutsu scrolls. My favorite thing to do in the game. Give him a little disrespect right here. Let him know, 30 levels under, still kicked your ass. That's the way it is. So, was that hard? Yeah, totally. Was it harder than Sekiro? I don't know. And now I see it actually says 165, so it's actually 35 levels underneath. So, yeah. So, the game's not easy, but it's just hard in a different way than a lot of other games. So, it's good. I like this game, and even in 2023, I think that this game is still fun and interesting in its own way. It's just it can be confusing to get into is all. So anyway, that about wraps up this video. I don't got much else to say. Thanks for attending my TED Talk, right? So don't know how to end this. Just gonna say peace.